my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and these are the hottest Golden Age comics of the week. And we've got some pretty cool books. Let's get right into it. Number 10 on the list is Submariner Comics number 38 from Atlas Comics 1955. It is a Sid Shores cover, and it is the origin of the little wings that are on Submariner. So if you ever wondered, how did he get those little wings? Well, this is the origin story of those wings. It is also the last Precode book for the title. So this was a 2.0 that sold, and it sold for $400, which is a new record for this book. The previous record for this book was set back in 2020 for $180. Now, there was a recent 1.8 that sold for $297 in October of 2030. So 2023, I should say, 2030 from the future. That I think that 1.8 sale kind of influenced this sale. So, but still a very strong sale for this book. There's 88 of these on the census, and 80 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 9 on the list is G.I. Jane number 1. This is from Stan Hall Publications, 1953. It is a Bill Williams cover, and it's the first of the title. It's a cool book. It makes a mixture of good girl, humor, and army. So war comic a bit. Just a really cool book, one that I particularly like. This was a 5.5 that sold. It sold for $525. It was actually eBay best offer. The original price was $655, but they took $525. Now, this book has been on a downward trend, actually. It had its highest record sale in 2018 for $576, but then it sold in 2020 for $552, and then it sold in 2022 for $550. So now it's down another $25. So it's on a slight decline, kind of not really a huge decline, but a little bit down each year. So I'm not sure what's wrong with this book, but definitely a cool one. It's a fairly rare book, actually. There's only 14 on the census, and 13 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 8 on the list is Boy Comics number 18. This is from 1944. It's a Lee Gleason comic, and it's a Charles Biro cover. It's a pretty cool cover too. It's got this fancy car smashing into a wall, and you can see the guy impacting with that wall. You got Crime Buster and Squeaky kind of swinging down to try to take out this criminal, and it's just pretty violent comic cover because it's just this guy smashing into a wall basically, and even he comes right out of his shoes, which is kind of interesting. This was a really high grade for this book. It was a 9.2. It's the second highest graded comic for this book, and it sold for $695. Boy comics generally are fairly affordable, and so even in high grades like $695, it's a pretty good price. This is actually a record though. The previous high for this book was set back in 2018 for $657. Generally, these boy comics are fairly affordable, especially in lower grades. You can $10 to $20, but this is a really high grade for this book. There's only 15 of these on the census, and 15 of them are Universal Blue Labels. It's generally one of those books that people don't bother getting graded because they're fairly affordable. Number 7 on the list is Action Comics number 57. This is from DC Comics 1943. It's a John Cicella cover, and it's also the second Lois Lane cover in the title, and it had an ad in it, like a half-page ad for Comic Cavalcade #1, and it features a prankster cover. So a lot of things going for this book. Um, this was a 6.5 that sold, and sold for $1,034.99. So we'll say $1,035. um, Now, this was not a record. The previous record for this book was set back in April of 2023 for $1,110. So a little bit down from its all-time high, but still a strong sale. There are 57 on these on the 57 of these on the census, and 48 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 6 on the list is World's Finest Comics #11. This is from DC Comics 1943. It is a Jack Burnley and Jerry Robinson cover, and it features the Victory Garden. During the Second World War, a lot of people, what they would do is plant victory gardens where you'd produce your own food, so that because there was rationing going on. I remember stories about from my dad when he was very young in the Second World War, and he would have to go and get the eggs from the chickens, and they had very little food because food was rationed at the time. So these victory gardens were a way of people kind of surviving during the war. Very iconic cover for that reason. This was a 6.0 that sold, and it sold for another best offer. It was originally priced at $1,200, but they took a best offer of $1,000. Now, this is a really high sale for this book. The previous record for this book in this grade was $510, set back in 2017. Now, there was a 6.5 that sold for $600 in December of 2020, and there was a 7.5 that sold in 2023 for $802. So this is above even the 7.5 sale by a good $200. So very strong sale for this book. Whenever you buy a book, even when you put in a best offer, always make sure you check previous sales. I think somebody overpaid on this one. There's 85 of these on the census, and 76 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Probably just somebody really wanted this book. It's a cool book, so I can't blame them. Okay, number 5 on the list is Action Comics #26. This is from DC Comics 1940. It is a Wayne Boring cover, and it features a 1/4 of a page ad for Batman #1. So that's kind of the key about this book, that it does have an ad for Batman 1. And this was a really low grade. This was a 1.0 that sold, and it sold for $1,299.99. So we'll round it to $1,300. This is the only sale for this book in this grade. There was a 5.0 that sold back in 2019 for $912. So this is like $300 above that. The most recent sale that I could find was a 2.0 that sold for $720 in 2021. So this book, you don't see it very often. And this one is a pretty massive sale for this grade. You would have expected maybe around $600. So this is about twice what you would have expected for this book. There are 81 of these on the census, and 66 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 4 on the list is Catman Comics #4. This is from Continental 1941. It's a Charles Quinlan cover. And it's one of those things I noticed about Charles Quinlan covers is I always find his characters are kind of running out of the page. It's almost like they're running through the page. I just thought that was interesting. These Catman comics are really rare and really hot. Like, everyone wants Catman comics. They're hard to find, though. This was a 5.0 that sold, and it sold for $2,500. The previous record for this book was set back in 2018 for $900. So it's over 3 times what it had sold for in the past. There was even but there was a recent sale for a 6.0 that kind of makes this like seem like a more reasonable sale. For a 6.0, it sold for $3,120 in 2021. So based on that 2021 sale, this 5.0 was kind of in line with that. So this just shows you how some of these Golden Age comics have really become very popular, and Catman is one of those, and it's kind of a hot comic. There's only 23 of these on the census, and 21 of them are Universal Blue Labels. The two main artists for Catman comics were like L.B. Cole and Chaz Quinlan or Charles Quinlan. Number 3 was Venus number 18. This is from Atlas Comics 1952, and it is a classic Precode horror cover. It has like these hooded skeletons. It's the terror in the tunnel. Now, the interesting thing about Venus comics is it was originally a good girl art comic, romance kind of comic, and then it later became a horror comic, which is very odd. This was it's also a Bill Everett cover. Now, the listing for this one was mislabeled, which was interesting, kind of one of those mislabeled auction sales. They mislabeled it as Venus number 19. Now, I actually think sometimes when you mislabel auctions, you can get a steal. And that is exactly what happened here, where somebody got a steal on this book, because this was a 5.5 that sold, and it sold for $2,952.03. Well, we'll say $2,952, but there was actually the 3 cents. Somebody put that little extra bit on it. Now, the reason I say this is a steal, and because that's a pretty big price, was there was actually a 5.0 that sold in June of 2023 for $4,560. So this is like down like over $1,500 from that prior 2023 sale for a 1/2 grade less. The previous record for this book, though, was set back in 2013 for $1,576. So this is way up compared to its previous record, but it is down compared to what the 5.0 had sold for. It's kind of an interesting thing where this one, you'd almost would have expected it to actually sell for more than what it did, because of it being listed as Venus 19. Now, Venus 19 is a very hot book. It is the one where there's a couple kissing and the guy is basically removing his face and it's a skeleton underneath. And it's just a classic Precode horror. It's probably one of the top 10 Precode horror covers of all time. And you would think that would bring a lot of interest to this one, but I guess not. This one, it was definitely a steal. Somebody got a great price on this one. Still a very classic cover. There are 60 of these on the census, and 53 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 2 on the list is Strange Mysteries number 12. This is from Superior Comics 1953, which is a Canadian publisher. This is a classic skull cover. You got skeletons kind of like acting like pallbearers, where they're carrying a coffin outside of this big skull's mouth. It's kind of a cool cover. And this was a 5.0 that sold, and it sold for $3,400, which is a pretty strong sale for this book, because the previous record for this book was set back in October of 2022 for $2,880. So up $600 from the prior record. Very strong sale. And there's only 31 of these on the census, and 29 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Now, Superior Comics, they're generally pretty hard to find, but this was a strong sale. Number 1 on the list is USA Comics number 2. This is from Timely, 1941. It is a really great, awesome Hitler cover. You got Hitler in this drill car. I don't know what it is. It's like this giant drill thing, and he's like behind the steering wheel. You got Nazis flying all over the place. It's just a classic cover. It's just a pretty cool cover. It actually features the origin of Captain Terror, and it is the last time that Basil Wolverton works on the story, on the character Rocket Man. And it's also got writings of Stan Lee in it. So it's got a Stan Lee story inside. So lots of stuff going for this book. Really cool book. And it was a high grade. It was a 5.5. This book, you don't see it in that high grades that often. And it sold for $7,000. The prior record for this book was set back in June of 2023 for $5,520. So it's up almost $2,000 from that prior record. Just a massive sale for a very desirable book because it's a Hitler cover. It's got some crazy, it's got a crazy cover, and that kind of appeals to collectors. There are only 39 of these on the census, and 32 of them are Universal Blue Labels. So pretty great list. Good Girl, Precode Horror, Superhero, just lots of fun stuff. I hope you enjoyed the list. What did you think? Please put a comment in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you again for watching. Bye for now.